Good morning and welcome to Dateline New Haven. I'm your host, Paul Bass, inviting you to look behind the headlines on the stories that make the Elm City tick. Nothing ticks better than Pundit Friday, which is to begin here in the WNHH studio with some of the #1 pundits in the media universe. Some, because some of our all-stars are not here today. Norma Rodriguez-Reyes is in Puerto Rico, and we're going to check out Ara, because who knows if she's going to end up being the president. Was it president or prime minister? Governor. We know that keeps changing by the hour. So she'll be back next week to tell us all about that. Babs Rolls-Ivy is moving into new digs in New Hallville. We're going to miss him. Markeisha Ricks is in Florida.
Wow, they're all over the space.
But the male contingent of the pundits remains in New Haven. Yeah. We're just going to have to float along with that. And we got Harry Trump, the heavy D Donald Trump devotee and WNHH station manager. He's the bravest man in New Haven. And he's here for Pundit Friday.
He just doxed me.
What? Oh, he doxed you. And we got the mystical and metaphorical man on the money, the bright light in the New Haven night, the topic of tempestuousness and titan of temperance, Joe Ugly of the Joe Ugly Show in the morning. How you doing, guys?
I'm doing well. You had to cut that one. I don't blame you because
no, we got weeks. We go full force.
No. It's okay. Yeah. It's quite okay. Yeah. I love those titles.
I love those titles too. To be honest.
Goodness,
one of my favorite things we do.
Absolutely.
So. You know, speaking of moving, I'm really moved this morning, the plight of Eddie Gist. I think we're all feeling for Eddie Gist this morning.
Eddie Gist?
What a sad tale that was of Eddie Gist.
Eddie Gist.
Eddie Gist.
I'm lost.
The man who is not necessarily known in New Haven political circles as Fast Eddie Gist.
I'm still lost again.
Although he was trying to be Fast Eddie Gist.
Okay.
And he was on the cusp of success.
His
moment in the sun, and Eddie just it. I'm
Just
feeling for Eddie Gist this morning.
I could just imagine. What is this Eddie Gist?
Well, Eddie Gist has been around New Hallville a long time.
Okay.
He works at McLaren Funeral Home.
Okay.
He decided he wanted to get in politics. He's going to run for Alder in Ward 21. That's Prospect Hill in New Hallville.
Right.
4 people signed up to run for Alder there.
Whoa.
One ward. So Eddie Gist was getting petitions with signatures of voters so he could get on the ballot. For the primary, September 10th.
Right.
Forget how many he needed. It was a few dozen, right?
Right.
So those petitions, everyone who wanted to be on ballots for this primary and the general election as independents or challenging a Democratic primary, you needed to get your signatures in to 200 Orange Street by 4 o'clock Tuesday. Hard deadline.
Right.
So Eddie thought he had all his signatures in. He did his work. You know, Eddie went around the neighborhood. People know Eddie. They like Eddie. Eddie got those signs. Eddie's a good guy, right? We want people in politics, right? So Eddie gets a call from the Democratic Register of Voters 2 hours before the deadline. Said, Eddie, you got a problem. A bunch of these names in the petitions are people who don't live in New Hallville. You can't get in the ballot that way. So Eddie had been working for weeks. Eddie had 2 hours to go. Eddie got the 4 signatures he needed. Eddie drove downtown.
This feels like a serious story.
Yeah.
3:45 p.m. Eddie's looking for a parking space.
Oh, no.
He can't find a park. He's circling the block. That
Dude,
clock's
you got to
ticking.
take the ticket. It
Eddie's entree into the political arena was at stake. He finally parked. He had time. He had like 8 minutes or something. Eddie burst into 200 Orange Street.
Yeah.
He pushed the elevator button. He had 5 minutes. Like only one floor, right? So Eddie decided to get the elevator. That's often faster than going up the stairs. No elevator.
No elevator?
The lights there. And I checked this morning. The elevator allegedly wasn't broken. There are 2 elevators. He's looking to light. The light's stuck in an upper floor. Finally, the elevator comes. It's 4 o'clock. 4:02, Eddie walks into the Registrar of Voters office. He said, I got him. I got the 4 names. I'm going to be on the ballot September 10th, Democratic primary, Ward 19. Chanel Leavenworth said, sorry, Eddie. 4 o'clock was deadline. It's
so 2 minutes later, they did
4:02. Eddie's not getting the ballot.
You can't have a waiver in that.
And there goes the promise of the primary campaign for Democratic nomination for Alder in Ward 21.
You know what I don't understand?
Killed by a parking shortage and an elevator.
Are you hearing feedback as well? Is that us?
Oh, this is my laptop.
Can you turn it down?
Harry, Joe, what do you got to say about not necessarily Fast Eddie Gist?
No, I mean, what I don't understand is I thought if you... There's a lot of things.
Isn't that commercial Fast Eddie?
There's a lot of Fast Eddies around.
A lot of Fast Eddies, but apparently he's not one.
So here's the thing.
Well,
I was talking about some people I know.
Is it that ingrained in the law that they cannot have a waiver on it?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If I were there, I would have said, "Hey, Eddie, good thing you got in by wink, 3:59."
Huh.
It's good that I'm not in that job because you shouldn't do that.
You shouldn't do it.
If you end up doing it for your friends, you get in trouble.
No, but
the law.
you didn't say.
There's trouble between the Secretary
but you
of State
didn't just say if
you got to stamp them.
No. But you didn't just say
Got
you're a
toy
friend.
with the stamp.
You didn't just say you didn't do it as a friend. You're not a friend. Or you're just making a general statement.
I'm saying that whatever I do it for Eddie, I'll do it for a friend, I'll get in trouble.
Right. Okay, yeah.
And at first I thought, well, Eddie, you don't have that long because they have these really crooked rules. Republicans and Democrats write the laws, so you can't start collecting ballots until there's a convention, petitions until there's a convention.
Right.
Then they give you only like 2 or 3 weeks, and for mayor, it's a big deal because you need a couple of thousand signatures.
But but let me ask a question.
So Eddie got it, and he got the call. And it was nice. The Red Cigar voter called him too, saying, "Eddie, it's not looking too good. Hurry up, Eddie. He needed only 4 more."
But those names, when would they identify as not being qualified?
Well, what happens? You hand in the names, and the Red Cigar voters are responsible for checking that those are real voters who signed your petition.
But do they have a time frame that they have to respond to let you know if it's?
I don't think there's a lot of people handing in, and they hand in the last second. So they did that. So unless there's something I don't know, there was no problem in how the government dealt with it.
No, I just want.
But my heart breaks for Eddie. But there is hope, folks.
I'm just that guy that always believe in
giving people a chance.
Yes, giving people a chance.
I'm surprised too. Isn't this like little Chicago?
Why? It's the opposite of Chicago.
Chicago, everybody passed.
They would say he gave it 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Chicago, they cheat. Unless they don't like you, then you get him in on time, and they tells you were late.
Or you want to stay center seat, like.
But there is hope for Eddie Gist. His career is not over. He's got thrown for a loop. But come November, Eddie Gist's name will be on the ballot as an unaffiliated candidate. You only need a few. I know it's 4 or 10 names to get on the ballot in general.
Oh, is that right?
It's so crazy rules. For the whole general election, you need like 1/10 of the names you need to be in these party primaries where they wrote all these crooked rules to keep people out.
As far as it goes for the primary, does it have to be a percentage of the last amount voted?
It is. And I'm not sure. I think it's registered.
Registered.
Do you get any funding?
No. That's my.
You have to
go sign up.
So guys, Eddie Gist is going to be in the mix. Eddie's down, but he's not out.
But on the 21st, he's going to be in the 21st ward. That's the ward over there that covers.
You were 19.
That was 19. Yeah. No, that's the one that covers. No, is that part of Prospect Hill?
It's part of Prospect Hill.
How is that?
Wait, there's more. Part of New Hallville, part of Dixwell, all the way over at the Florence Virtue Co-ops and the St. Martin townhouses. That is a gerrymandered district that's like a jigsaw puzzle piece, or it's ridiculous.
When was that gerrymandered? That's what I was trying to.
Last drawing, because someone. People always negotiate. I want to stay in my ward. I want my friend in there. I want my supporter there. So they draw this ridiculous map.
Which is really interesting because that part of New Hallville, which part of New Hallville? I take it is the Huntington Street area. That used to be all part of the 19th ward.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, the 19th
and
ward.
19th was this thing. Now, that's just about 19th, because that's not necessarily gerrymandered, but unlike 20 and 21, 19 is 2 very different neighborhoods. Prospect Hill, the wealthiest in New Haven, and a part of New Hallville that's among the poorest.
Which give you more numbers.
Up and down a hill. Well, they're equal numbers, but some people argue that you should have homogeneous wards, which everyone's the same, like the Flats of Westville. Other people say that mixed wards actually require politicians to have to respond to more mixed constituencies. The problem with 21 is ridiculously drawn wards. There's no cohesion in either way.
Correct.
So, like, the Alderman does a great job running. He goes so many different management team meetings because he's part of so many different neighborhoods. He does a good job running over to St. Martin and helping the tenants. He was the one there when they had flooding and stuff.
How the heck is St. Martin's part of this?
I know, it's ridiculous.
I mean,
let's not even talk about Ward 2. Yeah. So
Ward 2?
Well, maybe over the years it's been like.
Yes. Oh, that way, yes.
But we can't talk about Pundits Friday.
Yes,
Pundit Friday, which you're listening to on WNHH-FM. The males are holding down the ship. Babs are also
trying real hard. Let me do my best channeling of Babs. Well, Paul.
A lot of toxic masculinity in here.
Well, Carlos Gomez also got thrown for a loop, but he's not giving up either.
Which ward was this?
He's not in politics.
Oh, okay. Carlos Gomez.
Carlos Gomez got a little thrown around this week.
Do you know who this is, Harry?
I don't.
But I'm not feeling for him because he's a fighter. Carlos Gomez is a fighter.
But
Carlos Gomez drives an Uber.
Okay.
And he organizes Uber drivers to unionize. He's outside a union station, not in front of the door, past the drive-in lane on a public sidewalk. And he's handing out flyers. Some officious mid-level martinet comes out. He goes, this is on video. State law prohibits you from being out here doing union leaflets. Okay, so he lies about the Constitution and the state law, and there's no rule.
Mm-hmm.
And then an Amtrak cop, government cop, comes back. Oh yeah, that's the law. You can't be on public sidewalk handing out flies.
Wow.
He wasn't blocking an entrance.
Right.
He wasn't doing anything like that. So he did get on video, and they stopped.
Was he
him.
arrested? Carlos Gomez, right?
He
That's
was
his
arrested.
name?
Yeah. So Carlos could be back.
Surprised ICE didn't come up and grab him up.
You know, it's this
Really?
thing. He didn't get arrested that day. He got arrested another day handing out leaflets. He had to go to court 14 times to get it nollied. I mean, this criminal justice isn't crazy. They want to jam you up. They just jam you up.
They really and truly
And there's
do,
no
you know?
speedy justice. I mean, think about what's your day-to-day life. Like David Sepulveda, when he was falsely arrested by the Lyon, New Haven cops,
Mhm.
he spent 6 months going to court over and over again before they dismissed it when they never had a case. 6 months. You had to undo your schedules
Paul's been
when you
on this
work.
case ever since.
And this is what happens with minorities. You know, they tend to give up because of the inconvenience. Sometimes
Right.
it can
Well,
inconvenience
that's how
you
the
with
system
jobs.
works. They wear you down. If the cops
Exactly.
do wrong, they just wear you down.
They wear you down totally.
But one cop who made out pretty well.
No, hold
Yes,
on.
okay.
Before you get to that, Carlos Gomez, he's
Yeah.
trying to unionize the Uber.
There is yeah.
Now the real question is, who's over there with Uber? That's the real question. I mean, you know, I don't know. I guess we'll share this real quick with you. We're going up the highway and I saw the first truck. I think I told you this. The first self-driving truck,
Yeah.
and the
On 95, right?
on 95. One of the things I looked into was who owns the self-driving trucks here in the U.S. And turns out it's a company named Otto. And I'm reading, you know, I'm doing more research about this.
It's
and
not that you would ever think there's a conspiracy.
Oh no.
Because Joe Ugly would never
No,
have
no.
a conspiracy.
I bet
Oh,
you-
no,
I
no.
bet China
Never
knows.
mind. No, never mind. Pass all that. OTTO is who owns it. Now, Uber came online earlier this year and were $900 million in debt. And I was like, who's buying these stocks? And I couldn't wrap my head around that. And I was really baffled by that until I realized Otto. And then I started clicking. Uber owns Otto.
Yeah, I was just reading the other day that Uber wants to be the Amazon of transportation. In Pennsylvania, they work with the government where you can dial up Uber. They'll bring you the driver and buy your ticket for the train.
And here's where it gets very interesting because now this guy is on the government. He was over here at the train station. You got an Amtrak guy, cop coming at him. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there.
That cop should be fired.
But he should
No
be.
way that guy should be a cop.
But here's the real thing, Paul. The Uber drivers right now, as I read into this, you know, I'm doing research on this. The trucks can't come inside, and that's the future of Uber. The trucks can't come into the city because they can't navigate as well. You know what's being tested right now for navigating? Uber drivers. As you drive, you know, it's a pattern. That's being tested right now for navigating.
For their own obsolescence. Not only
exactly.
they're ripping off by taking more money out of their pockets so they barely went.
Now they want to get rid of
They're
them.
using their work to put them out of business.
Put them out of business.
But in the meantime, it helps a lot of people get that part-time income.
Yeah, but this is why they don't want him to unionize. That's the point. When you look at the big picture,
of course, the business plan is to get rid of people.
Exactly. When you look at the big picture, it's like that. That is what that's all about. And I just wanted to share that because
but-
you know,
I'm
glad
we're
you
going
shared
to
it.
pun
And you were
it.
talking
By the way,
about
I wasn't to suggest that there aren't true
monopolizing
conspiracies.
that industry. Uber's going to monopolize that industry.
Mhm.
But it's the same thing Amazon did. Amazon didn't start making money until a few years ago.
Yeah, when
You
you
know, so-
monopolize
so-
the industry.
Right. So you monopolize it, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you're in debt for 5-6 years.
Right.
But you have to have a plan on the other end. Once you monopolize, will you be able to raise your prices enough? And Amazon got sneaky at it. They make you never know if
Correct.
you're getting a deal that's less money. Sometimes it's more money than you pay elsewhere.
Exactly.
They have some very sophisticated big data driven algorithm
Yep.
that looks at buying habits in the customer so that you can be fooled. They're right to fool you.
It's all about the con.
Yeah.
It is all about the. And now it's
Speaking
the
of which,
econ.
all about the content was
Go
about
ahead.
the con. So Luis Casanova, we do not feel sorry for him. Luis
No.
Casanova got a payday. So it wasn't a huge payday.
82.5?
Yeah. So here's the deal. He was the police chief, right? Assistant
Right.
police chief. He wanted to be the chief.
Right.
But for reasons that I think were very fair,
Mhm.
he was very popular cop. He's a good guy.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean that every good cop or good guy is the one that the mayor should think should be the chief. The mayor, good reasons, was not going to make her the chief. She made Anthony Campbell the chief. He was
Right.
mad. So he sued and said that he was racially discriminated against because he's Hispanic.
Mhm.
Because he made up some other kind of story, right?
Mhm.
And then he hires a former mayor of Bridgeport, Tom Bucci, as a lawyer, to file a federal lawsuit that is asking a judge to order the mayor to name Casanova the police chief.
No,
and then he
it
wanted
wa-
to be chief again,
Mhm.
thinking he was going to get picked chief after he sued the mayor. He couldn't get picked chief. A lot of cities, I think, would have hired him because he's talented, because he had sued the mayor
Mhm.
and tried to get a judge to tell you who has to be police chief. So he didn't get chief second time, so he wants to retire. And for a long time, they're negotiating. They wouldn't tell us the terms. I mean, we'd heard them, but no, they wouldn't tell us officially.
Right.
So he retired June 30th. They finally released it last night because the judge approved it.
Right.
And so he agreed to drop his suit. Now, usually when you agree to drop a suit, you get some big money sometimes.
Right.
Now, 82.5 is big money for you and me. It's more than, maybe not you, more than I ever make in a year, that's for sure.
Don't
So,
get twisted. Yes, it is.
he gets
It's big money.
82.5, which is really go away money. If you read
Right.
it, they say, we did nothing wrong,
And you
but we
can't
want
have
you to go
another
away.
job.
So he gets but yeah, and they said you can't apply for city job, but there's a wink in there. You can be asked, they can waive it. So the mayor can say, I'd love you to apply. So if one of the people he supports gets to be mayor, they can say, Lou Casanova, we'd like you to apply. Please, here's an invitation, and we waive this. So basically what he got is he said, I'll stop my suit.
Mm-hmm.
They paid him to go away, which is a pretty nice check, but nothing like what you get if they think there's merit to it.
Mm-hmm.
They said all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a nice paycheck. And how do you feel about that? When they raised his record, his suspension.
Yeah, you're right, exactly. That's
so
the part about it.
the mayor agrees to write him a recommendation letter saying he was a great cop, while he went out and endorsed her opponent for mayor, Justin Elicker. Slap. He feels he was wrong somehow. What do you think about this? People, every time they think they're wrong, like the Mayor Harkins people, they've messed up some cases, but everyone says, gee, there's another lawsuit the Hart administration paid out. Aren't they screwing up? I would argue this isn't big payout money. You pay that money because it costs you more to be dragged through months of litigation, even when it's nuisance litigation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that while there are legitimate criticism about some of how they handle some cases,
mm-hmm.
other times people, they don't do anything wrong, but you still get sued because people are mad they didn't get a job they want.
Mm-hmm.
And it costs the taxpayers extra. They screw the taxpayers, but they're not the ones who get blamed for it. Mm-hmm. It's a whole industry of lawyers, like one woman who got fired from City Hall because she did unethical things as a legal practice, suing the city with BS lawsuits to cut
Mm-hmm.
extra money. I have a real concern about that. I think lawsuits are important because when you don't get justice, you need to find justice in the courts. But so many people misuse the system.
Mm-hmm.
Screw the taxpayer
mm-hmm.
with these kind of suits. I don't know. What do you think?
But here's what I gotta ask: why was that part of the deal for her to write him a letter of
That's very
recommendation?
common because he's worried about being able to be hired elsewhere because it's public that he had to fight. He didn't get to be police chief twice.
Isn't that on him though?
Of course, but that happens all the time. In big corporations, especially.
Right.
All the times, people, you're not allowed to tell the truth.
But you're not allowed to. They don't have to. Corporations don't have to write you a letter of recommendation. They could just say you work here from this time to this time, and that's it.
Right, but
and that's all that should have been.
Right, so you think she shouldn't have signed that?
Right.
Yeah, they were having a hard time getting go because for years we were paying him as assistant chief when he was mayor. He didn't get to be chief, and he was just kind of stewing and fighting with other people at this police station.
Mm-hmm.
And we were spending a lot of money. You needed some people in there who were part of a team, right or wrong. You might say he was right because he said he had objections to how the people who were picked were running things, and I'm not saying he's wrong or right about that. Mm-hmm. But so they were desperate to get rid of him, and it took forever because it takes forever to do anything sometimes in the Hart administration. We know this. And
government period.
And okay, and that's true. And so I think they just wanted him out.
Yeah, well,
and he ran with it because he also got some vacation time adjustment.
Just going to say,
so he's only in his early 50s. He's got a whole other career coming. I'm sure he's going to get, I don't know the exact number. He's surprised if it's under 70, 80,000 a year, health insurance for life. Now a fake recommendation from the mayor of the town, all by filing a really just revenge nonsense lawsuit.
This right now is really going to be the telltales of Luis Casanova is going to be told right now what he's really about. Now that he did a lot
of good. People.
No.
He was investigated a bunch of times.
I'm talking about as far as literally his real work, because you got 82.5 granted, you got a pension, you got all this stuff, and you're young. I mean, what's next? Is he going to go look for another job?
Yes, definitely. And he wanted to be desperately wanted to be police chief somewhere. Well, here's the thing.
That makes no sense.
With these early retirements,
82.5,
that police chief,
25,000 could make him a good PI.
Yeah. So, when I look at people who retire early, I don't begrudge them because we made those deals with public safety because they put their lives on the line and we want people to come. They have time for a second career. A lot of times his pensions aren't as big as we think for like the beat cop who didn't have a buddy who gave him a lot of extra overtime to have his pension calculated too high. But what I notice for some people is that it's not just about the money. So they think it's about the money. And I've noticed some people who
it's the principle.
Their lives are kind of lose some meaning. where they don't get to be part of the force and the mission anymore. Because a lot of people go into policing and fire to be heroes. A lot of them have been jocks in sports, and they're great. You know, they really want to help people, and they're part of some team that feel like they're doing public service. And there's also a lot of gossip, a lot of energy, and a lot of hard work together, long shifts, double shifts in the face of danger sometimes. And
but is that healthy though?
I don't know. That's a good question. But then all of a sudden, suddenly, okay, you got out, 45, 50 years old. You're set for life. But what do you do? I remember one firefighter, I mentioned this before, I ran into him a few months ago. He had to leave as firefighter because he had done something wrong, but he got his pension and everything. And he's still pretty young. I saw him in the middle of an afternoon by the park. And he was like out of it. He's already like stoned or drunk by 1 or 2, wanting to do some gossip just to talk about stuff, really looking like he was lost. And he died not long after at a young age. And he had health problems. I don't know if they're related, but and I've seen that with other people too. They're kind of like, they get this great, sometimes they get really big pensions, but they're angry and bitter, feel something was taken from them, and that's what they want back in.
That's what I was talking about when you said, when I said,
we need meaning in our life. It's not just about the money.
No, but this is what I was talking about, Paul, when I was saying about you're going to tell the person what they're really about after that, because understanding your what's next, no matter what you face, understanding, okay, well, what's next for me? And going after that and creating that and making that something, that's critical to your existence.
And assisting a whole bunch of assistant chiefs and former chief have all left the New Haven Department last year to go work for the state's attorney's office as investigators. And they feel there that they do have something next. They're using what they did before. They got their pension, and now they're going to be on cases. And
So you ask yourself, what's next? You don't sit around. I personally think
Julie Johnson, who is a former high-ranking cop, now just started the Hope Justice Center this week. She put together for domestic violence.
There you go.
Shopping. So that's finding some meaning.
Finding meaning. And you just can't. It goes back to what I said when I ask if it's healthy. If all you're looking at is just a conglomerate, within ranks and revenge or anything like that.
Like Louis Casanova showed up at the Democratic Town Convention, and he's sitting in the section of Justin Ellicker's supporters, just glaring. Half of them had lawsuits, and against Tony Harp, and like others are just mad they're not there anymore, and they're all just looking to. And they got in the ones. There was even one there who got a lot of money. And he's just mad, and he's bored with himself all day trying to get back at people.
Find your what's next and move on. If you can't, come on. What other retired cops do? Go buy a fishing boat.
And in the meantime, you could know that you listen to Pundit Friday. It's a great thing to do. It might not make you rich, but it'll make you wealthy in knowledge.
There you go. Let me just say for Norma, he's Puerto Rican, so...
They always screw the Puerto Ricans.
That's right. They always screw the Puerto Ricans, and whenever we try to come out on top, everybody is critical.
And even though the chief they did pick now is Latino.
Right.
That's besides the point.
That's Harry Joe's channeling Norma Rodriguez Reyes on Pundit Friday on WNHH-FM, your home for community radio, 103.5 FM, live streamed at newhavenindependent.org. We're running down the headlines of the week. One of the most interesting, I love mind-bending, unexpected twists in public events that seem to have a script written. Tom Breen, we're talking about a lot of Tom Breen stories here. Tom Breen had a great story this week about the Civilian Review Board. That's the new version of the body that's supposed to monitor alleged cop misbehavior. Who gets to be on it became a big fight. And the activist group that's been most influential was not wanting the board of alders to approve 2 of the mayor's nominations, a retired cop and a journalist documentary filmmaker named Steve Hamm, who made a police documentary. And they said he didn't speak about structural racism when he was at his nominating hearing, so he doesn't have enough knowledge of what it's like to be on the other side. He sounds like a centrist. That's the word they used. So he shouldn't be on it. So the board of alders, as usual, they do their mafia thing. They go in the back room, decide who's going to get their knees cut and who won't. They came out and voted in 20 seconds and decided who was on, who was not. And so Ham was left on the floor. He did not make it. And they didn't say why. It was clear because this group had said no. So here's the twist.
Okay.
So this whole movement to have a civilian review board, and there's stronger versions led by a woman named Emma Jones. She's worn white since April of 1997 every day since East Haven police chased and murdered her son, Malik, and has used it as a rallying cry. And she is held up as the matriarch of the movement. She's in the audience. She's all happy about this movement, and she says that her compatriots were wrong. She says Steve Hamm should have been on it. She met him. Seems like a fair guy. And she says something broader. She said, we want a variety and a diverse group of people who understand how to work with other people and be fair to the process. If we put everyone on the board who looks like, who thinks alike, we may end up in more trouble than we bargained
Well, isn't that what we were complaining about in the first place by having too many cops that look alike and think alike? So, yeah, she's right.
Yeah.
Diversity
She is so right.
She is so right. I mean,
But-
I can't even
So
look
what's
her
up with the
That's
kudos
that's
to Tony Harper.
intelligence beyond her emotions.
I know, and the thing
Correct.
is, there's
and
nothing
it's
wrong.
hard
with-
to do these things.
I'm
especially
sympathetic.
after losing a child.
Yeah.
I'm sympathetic
Exactly.
to the group that says, you want to have a whole bunch of people who know what it's like to be harassed by cops, to walk in brown, black
Mhm.
skin, and experience policing that way,
Mhm.
who are critical. I don't mind if there's a preponderance of people. I think it's a good idea because they say other boards and commissions are too biased toward policing, which is so true.
Mhm.
But you're right; they're repeating a mistake, and they're going to have no success in having. So their point is that the community sometimes can't believe in the system because it's stacked against them. If you stack it the other way, how are you going to get there?
Right. But the only thing that I would say as far as where it should be, I'm a believer that cops just changing not changing, but shifting the subject just slightly. I think cops should be required to live in the city or some part, that they're
We
policing.
lost that. We lost that, and we can't have residency requirements for anyone other than mayoral appointees.
I understand that. I
State
understand
law.
that, but that should be part of it. I mean, let's remember
I'm
who
with
helped
you,
make
yeah.
it go away. For
The
those who
union.
exactly who did not want it, but
Well,
it
what
should have
about a
been
person
part.
says, "Why can't I go live?" What if someone says, "I can't go"? Why can't I go live in the next town if I want to? If that's better for my family? What if I came from the next town and my wife has a job there, my husband? Why shouldn't they be able to have a job that isn't in charge of things here?
Because of the psychological, emotional, physical
Knowing the turf, being
issues
part of the
that
community and
goes
having its
with
stake.
communities.
So the argument comes back on
Yeah.
that is that we are allowed to give preference to local people and do outreach that aims for local people,
Mhm.
but we
But-
can't.
Okay,
there are labor rights.
but how strong of an outreach do we do?
We try. It's hard. I see them trying. I'm not saying they're always perfect. at
I
it.
think it's more them coming from the area
Right?
instead of staying in the
No,
area.
but no. Here's why I'm against.
Because they could be targeted.
No, here's why I'm against that. The reason why I'm against that
Harry,
is because
that's where you want to be feared. You don't want them to be
Right,
feared. You want people
exactly.
who are part of the community, not scared of the community, and not targeted by the
Right.
community.
and that's why.
Yeah, but that's not reality.
but
That's
here's-
different
no,
for
no, that
undercover.
is reality.
Undercover cops don't have their pictures in the paper. And
Right.
Stuff, yeah.
The reason why, Harry, as we all know, there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people, probably more so than we really know. People who come from certain neighborhoods that, as soon as they get out, they start looking down on or don't want to even be affiliated to that neighborhood.
Yeah.
But what about if you're from the Dixwell neighborhood?
Give it
Now,
to
if
me.
you're a kid, you like to skateboard,
Uh-oh.
and if you're a certain adult, you like kids to have stuff to do like skateboarding.
Uh-huh.
Your other adult, you say, even though it's a park, I don't want a lot of kids there. I don't want a lot of people parking. Maybe they'll come to something once a year at some event there, and then I'll have to go an extra 7 seconds like Eddie just to find my parking space. And there was a whole controversy about whether to accept money to build a skate park in Scanterbury Park.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the end, the Board of Alders, and they even talked about it for a minute or two before voting it to let us know what they thought. They did side with building this park, and Joe has a stake in this. His wonderful son was one of the people creating this deal.
Which I had absolutely nothing at all to say to him.
Why?
I just stayed out of it. I heard his opinions. I heard what it is that
he was
what
totally
he was going
right
for.
and
He
doing
was
something
right.
good.
Yeah, but I didn't want to put, because I have a voice here in the city early in the morning, I didn't want to put any impact whatsoever on it. I wanted to be the community
Do
coming
you
out
think people
and
can be
feeling that way.
skateboarding early in the morning? You're
People
on 6 to 9.
People listen early
Right,
in
but
the
they're not
morning.
skateboarding till like noon and later. Right?
Yeah, but people listen in the morning, so I did not want whatever I say be that influence.
Well, then I can say it. Way to go, Jay Jr.
Oh, absolutely.
Way to go,
I can say
Jeanette
that.
Morrison.
Yes.
While it's important to hear the objections of a few people
Right.
who don't like kids around, I
Right.
think we have a responsibility as a city to take
get-
advantage of really easy, low-hanging fruit opportunities
Exactly.
to have kids do productive stuff.
Correct. And,
be
and
a,
look,
be
the
a place
part,
for people outside and not scared of each other.
you know what is most interesting? We were in Germany in 2016, and it was November. We went there. That's where we went to spend Thanksgiving that year. And my son, we're in the hotel, and he says, "Oh, I'm going to the skateboard park." And I look outside. I'm like, "Yo, bundle up, man." He said, "No, it's indoor."
Oh.
And I was like, "Indoor?" And he pulled it up. He had brought a skateboard with him. Apparently, he checked it out before we even left the States.
Wow.
But they have an indoor skate park in Stuttgart, Germany. that it's just out of this world, and this is what they give back to the community. And it's
And
like,
if there were 3 neighbors who said, "I don't want to kids
were like,
skateboarding. I don't want to see them
exactly.
skateboarding," they wouldn't stop.
keep in mind, it did not just stop there. They have trails leading to
Well,
the
what would
skateboard.
Norma say, Harry? I don't see any Hispanics involved in this. There are 2
No,
skateboard parks and not any Latino
did they
neighborhoods.
convert the pool, or they have a pool and a skateboard park? in
No,
the building?
there's a pool inside of the
Right, that's what I'm
skateboard
saying.
park.
So do they
Yes,
skateboard in the pool?
in the pool. No, you know how they got skateboard pools, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's what they call it, because that's how skateboarding really took off in California with the
because
guy.
of the dip.
Right, and because the water shortage of the 70s, a lot of people had the pools abandoned. A lot of houses got abandoned because of the water shortage, housing issues, all that. A lot of the pools got abandoned. So these kids will
Adaptive
drain the
reuse.
pool. Yeah, they'll drain the pool and then skate in it. And that's how this whole pool-like skateboarding, because the curves in the pool.
That
there's
is
no
so
sound.
cool.
And that's what brought it to the elevator. There's a documentary movie out about it called Laws of Dogtown, and it highlights what the rise of skateboarding through the 70s all the way into the 80s.
Cool. And we're all the way in 2019 on Pundit Friday. WNHS-FM 103.5 live
By the way,
stream.
great skate park coming. I think it's a great idea.
Me too. Harry, what do you think about skate park?
I think it's a great idea, and the young man seems better than the father.
Okay,
As you
you know
can
what?
tell-
You're so right.
As you can
You're
tell, there's the male
absolutely right.
version of Pundit Friday.
That's
Okay.
that's the goal, right?
Can I
Yeah,
do some?
absolutely.
Hey, Harry and Joe, can I do a few reality checks?
Absolutely.
Because
I
some
hope
things
so.
happened this week,
Okay.
and they just strike me as bizarre, but maybe I'm missing something.
Okay.
Okay, let's run down another Tom Breen story, okay?
Tom Brady.
In
Love that kid.
a couple months ago,
Don't talk about that landlord, is it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
well, sort of is.
Because I'm really annoyed at that dude still. Go ahead.
I think it's his property, 150 West Street.
Another one of his properties?
No, same one.
Oh,
in the
same
hill,
one.
there was a fire
Yes.
at an illegal rooming house where there were no working smoke detectors in a lot of the floors, right?
Mm-hmm.
If any.
Right.
And people lost
Yes.
their lives.
Right.
People jumping out windows, firefighters got injured, and 2 people died.
Mhm.
And at the time, here's what the city said to us. They said, well, we had no way of knowing there was a legal rooming house here because no one told us.
But I thought
And wait.
wait. Oh, my bad.
Okay. And they also said in smoke detectors and things like that. So we were kind of hearing differently. They said, well, give us all your documents about what you've done at that property. So they gave us all the documents. And they said something I was really sympathetic to and remain sympathetic to. We have only 4 people to keep track of 25,000 apartment units. We got to have a better system. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't put everything they knew out there. So then Tom, a few months later, gets a record of fire inspection reports. So it turns out that beginning 2 years before the fire, and continuing, people told them
Mm-hmm.
there's a rooming house here. They broke it up into all these apartments. They didn't have a permit or anything like that. And there are problems there. They're on there. They referred it to the Livable City Initiative. Then it turns out 2 months before the fire inspector and a Livable City Initiative inspector were in the apartment.
But
Putting
here's the
in a
question.
couple of fire alarms, but saying the fire alarms weren't working and did not follow up with any action with the landlord or do anything else. What am I missing? Aren't you supposed to? Wouldn't we all have been sympathetic if they just said on the first day, some stuff fell through the cracks. We didn't do as well as we could have. We work really hard, which they do. We do great work and save lives, which we do. And sometimes with 25,000 apartment units in a city and keeping after difficult situations where tenants might
That
disable
sounds
smoke
good.
alarms, once in a while, something gets through and we're going to learn from it. Why would you wait for it to come out to show that you knew about something you claimed you didn't know about?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of government is that?
No, you know what it is?
What am I
but
missing?
You're missing a few things. First thing, you're missing the fact that, one, there was a ownership change within that time.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing about coming out and just saying that, and I understand why government don't. I don't say it's right. I don't condone it, but I do understand it, and it is because of the lawyers.
But here's
you
something
admit to something like that, and of course, right away, oh yeah.
But it's going to come out. There's a theory that in government,
But it
'cause they're-
is
'cause
not
very-
guaranteed to come
LCI,
out.
these are heroes. These are great
Yes, they
people. They
are.
work really hard. They're not perfect because they're human and they have a tough task.
Yes.
So the theory now in government for the last decades, ever since Tylenol and Johnson Johnson, corporate theory too.
But
when something
Paul, they're
goes wrong,
hoping that it falls through your cracks.
but here's the thing.
Exactly.
Here's
Just
the
because
thing.
that Paul is good and
But
do
forget
good
it. I didn't get
investigative
Tom Brady into
reporting.
this. But here's the
But
thing.
so both of you guys.
The theory for decades has been that if something goes wrong,
Mhm.
you immediately get the most damaging information out and explain it.
Who said that? To whom?
Ever since Johnson & Johnson is in business today,
Yeah.
because during the Tylenol deaths, they put everything out front right away and said how they're going to fix it.
Except who turned that whole mindset over? The tobacco industry.
The tobacco industry.
They're like, oh, heck no. We're not Johnson & Johnson.
But you look at Johnson & Johnson now, they're being sued for talcum powder.
Talcum powder.
And it's like they didn't know.
It's like they didn't know. Exactly.
So in other words, you're
50s.
saying that the Arbitration and other government agencies should operate like big tobacco?
That's not what I'm saying.
Yes,
what
you are.
No, I said I don't condone it.
Okay.
I said I don't support it,
You're
but
just
I do
explaining
understand
why.
it.
So they think like the tobacco
Exactly.
industry.
Yeah.
So when people are dying, they think cover it up rather than deal with it.
They're hoping you also don't do your homework.
And it's
Their
and,
due diligence, that there's so many stories that you forget about that one.
And it's not only that they don't want to, they're covering up to, they might cover up to go fix. You never know. I don't know.
You've sort of
I'm just
explained
saying.
that one to me.
So what?
Thank you. You've explained that to me.
Okay.
Can you explain another to me?
Oh God, here we
Okay.
go.
So you have a very ambitious program to save kids who are poisoned from lead paint by having landlords, having them their requirements inspection and legal action taken if they reach a limit that the Federal Centers for Disease Administration identifies as dangerous, Centers for Disease Control, rather than what the state says. We've done that for years. Then we decide, well, we're going to stop doing that. You get sued. You make a legal claim that 4 separate judges have told you you're wrong about. 4 separate judges order you to do differently. 4 separate judges trash what you're doing. You hire 2 separate law firms. You probably spent over $100,000 more to keep fighting and keep losing every step of the way. Then you decide, okay, we'll try to fix this. So you hold a press conference. You don't invite the lawyers suing you to pay any part. And you say, now we're going to change. The mayor says, now we're going to change to go back the old way. But then the woman she has in charge of programs says right in front of her, no, we're not. We're going to keep going the old way. And the mayor says, no, we're not. We're going to do it a new way. So then she appoints a task force that meets and says, we have a new law proposal, and we're going to do what the director said. We're going to not go back the old way and not do what the mayor says. And then you're continuing to go in court and losing again this week with another judge spending all the taxpayer money. And here's what I can't figure out. The mayor's running for re-election. So separate from the merits, they obviously believe, her legal department believes we're so right that even though 4 judges have told us we're wrong over and over again, and even though we keep losing, we're right, so we're going to keep spending tons of money that we don't have to keep fighting it. But even if that were true, why, when you're running for election, would you keep fighting for the right to have poisoned children not protected? What do you win? You either win a lawsuit, but then be portrayed, especially this mayor really has a great record on public health, a great history, really cares about people in need, has recognized nationally for the work she's done.
What do you think that conflict is about? What you see that she's saying, let's go this direction, and they go the other direction,
and they also keep fighting the lawsuit.
Right.
You know.
So what do you think? Explain it to me. It makes no sense.
I can't explain this one because this one is strange.
The only thing I could think,
it's almost like the Trump administration.
Look, I have to. Thank you.
Where they're fighting each other. It's true. It just makes no sense.
It's small. No. They won't be on the Trump administration. He'll fire them.
Right, but the thing is, I'm saying, you see how it makes no sense.
Right. It makes no sense. And the only thing that I could possibly remotely explain behind this have to fall under conspiracy theory. It just have to. I can't under any.
What would be the conspiracy?
Oh no, I'm not.
That her own. Because here's the thing.
I'm not going to say
the mayor's own.
Okay, who's supporting that have lead? That don't want to have to go to the.
Oh, the legal aid lawyer suing the city is a supporter of the mayor's opponent. So the mayor's legal department does not have a good relationship with this person because they see her as an opponent rather than try to work with her. I have a different theory, which is that in bureaucracies in government, people stake out their turf and just don't and just dig in.
Turf. You have kids.
But what's going on here?
It's being poisoned.
Did the mayor flip flop on this?
You get yes, but then they flip back.
Yeah, it's just,
and here's the thing: the mayor then appoints a task force that's supposed to deal with it. She puts her own top appointee who's very loyal to her, Serena Neal Sangiero, Catherine. I can't
wrap my head around
Boyce Walton. They come to a meeting and publicly blast the task force itself for not even letting them weigh in before they put in this law.
And that's what I'm talking
about.
It's
a circus, guys.
No sense.
It makes
so is
no
this
sense.
government that's working well?
No,
of course not.
No, of course not. I mean, it's
of course not. But
when you have that,
I see why the mayor's mad at you,
there's a stick
Paul.
in the spokes, Paul. Come on, of course not.
Have mercy, baby. Have mercy on me. You listen to Pundit Friday, and I think we'll move on, okay?
No, I'm just
You've
saying.
now explained some to me and not others.
No, that
Now
one I can't. Come on,
Here's something
here's
something you can't explain to me, and I want to give you an opportunity, Joe Ugly, to trash me.
Ooh.
And the New Haven Independent. Because New Haven Independent published an article that I think is great.
I'm so down biased.
And it's about a rapper named Snowsa.
Okay,
Previously known as Snowbra, previously known as Snowbomber.
Yeah.
She's breaking out. She had a great song, Yank Rhythm. And, you know, we sometimes in the Independent feature, like Caleb had this great video out about it. Problem. And we did a couple stories on Snowbra. And then we did another one because she's really breaking out. She got a record deal with Island Records. She did a video with one of the hottest rappers in the country. Young M.A. comes and does a video remix of it. But we get a lot of pushback from people sort of in your universe, Joe, who says, why is she getting the attention around everybody else? And I'll give you my two theories, saying, you know, they're kind of throwing darts at her and darting us for promoting her. And I have two theories that I think you're not going to agree with, so let me throw them out and then give you the mic.
Okay.
I think every time a local performer in music, back to the days of Bob Dylan, right? If someone makes it, the rest of the community is mad that they're getting all the attention, and they're jealous. B, Snowsa is a female. Rap is a male-dominated world. All these guys can't take it that this woman is the star. All right, Joe, let me have it.
Okay. Based on what you're saying, all right, so I'm going to be understanding that this whole indie music game, especially Young M.A. is indie, by the way. She's distributed on Sign stuff.
She has as many viewers as Beyonce.
Oh, yeah. Young M.A. is it. And, but the thing that they're looking at is it could have some testosterone anxiety against this. You know, it could be some male stuff against her. I'm not going to question that.
Although it was a woman in your crew that gave us the hard time.
I'm quite sure. But in my crew, I don't know. But I know it's maybe in my universe.
That's what I mean.
Okay. The reason why she's getting all this work right now is because she also, look, hip hop is what it is. And whatever you do on your way up, it's going to reflect, you know, when you get there. And people are going to come for that head. That's just the way it is.
So what's she doing on her way up?
Well, there was some stuff. You know, the streets are talking.
What are the streets saying?
No, they're not saying the greatest.
Because we're in the suites here. What do the streets say?
You know, one of the things. Well, that's what. I don't want to put any gasoline
No.
on
Come
that
on.
fire. No.
I really need the explanation, man. You're hiding something here.
Exactly.
Is it jealousy, or does he stab people in the back to get ahead?
The way how some people feel, yes, she did. Some people felt that that's what she did. But you know, what
did she stop someone else from getting attention?
But this is what I say. You know, I've heard it. I've known people close by who have said, but I never, in all of that, when people come to me and ask me to say something about it, I was like, you know what? She's someone rising from New Haven,
grew up here, went to Hill House.
And I said to others, I said, why not work with her? Say, you can't do that. And then they explained to me a whole bunch of other stuff, you know, and they said she never did anything to me personally. So I don't have anything.
Isn't it true that most people who succeed in entertainment have stepped on somebody else or stabbed them to get ahead, and the others would do it back to them to get ahead?
I don't know that. No, especially not in the hip hop, because hip hop moves as units.
And she's not a team player, as you're saying.
If you see how when hip hop move, they move as a crew. That's just the way it is. You'll see like 50, the whole crew move. You know, when someone comes up, because that's what it was.
So how do you like her? Do you like her music? Do you think she's special? Harry, you pointed out that video I took was really terrible.
To myself now.
I love Yank Rhythm. I think Yank Rhythm is a really good song.
You know what? It's a younger feel.
Yeah, exactly. It has to me. Okay, let me ask you a question, Paul. If a guy had put out a video and music like that, what would have been told? What would have been said?
It wasn't a thug video.
No, it would have been. Oh, it would have been heavier analyzed. That's for sure.
How so? What was it? Tell me about it. Yank Rhythm. I'm trying to think about it. Now, Young M.A. I could see. So what's interesting about Young M.A.
I
to
love
me?
her.
I think she's interesting too. I didn't know anything about her till Sam Hanneman's story about Snowsa introduced me. Introduced me to Young M.A. because I'm out of it, right? I don't really know hip hop, right?
I love her.
So I spent time reading up on Young M.A. and watching the videos. Definitely good. But what's interesting to me, so Young M.A. is outspoken about how women are put down in hip hop, and that's one reason she kind of united with Snowsa, formerly known as Snowbra, formerly known as Snowbomber. And she said, we're rising women together. when you watch Young M.A.'s videos,
Mhm.
it's Young M.A. surrounded by a lot of tough guys, street
Mhm.
guys. She looks tough. She's a woman. She very dresses like the guys,
Mhm.
and all the videos are about bitches, hoes,
Mhm.
how I like guns, I like money and drugs, and
Mhm.
wearing that stuff. So it's interesting. She's adopting the male macho character of.
I don't know if she's
Rap
necessarily adopting it or
to
if
have a
that's
woman-
what she is.
That's what she is.
That's
yeah,
what
yeah.
she is.
But it's
She's not-
interesting. On the one hand,
and
it's
what I
about
li-
a woman's place in it, but a woman. Because Yak Ribbon, it's not like that's male or female, but that's
Right.
not trying to be.
It's not male or female.
Right,
Like the
not
hip hop
male.
Right.
industry, it just isn't. It's
no,
where you
we're
come
her.
from.
We're her.
I mean, we're her,
With
but-
Young M.A., it's not a, because she's
But
more
as- but
carried
I'm
the
saying
more,
as the-
more transgender.
As the industry, though, it's just.
I was
it's
wondering
just
that.
Yeah,
where you
she
come
she
from.
carries a more transgender appeal. Young M.A. is, and I respect her because she comes to who she is. This is me. I mean, and I'll never forget going into a corporate meeting a year or 2 years ago. In a corporate meeting, and someone goes, ooh, and that was her track that was hot at the time, the ooh track. And it was like, I look over and I'm like, serious? They're like, oh yeah, I love her. I really like Young M.A. She's really good. I'm like, really? You like this?
Well, now we have a.
And I don't know if it was that.
Well, we have a
because they know
member of
me
that
and hip-hop.
generation. So before we say goodbye,
Mhm.
I like Sam Hademan, who wrote the story that lit up the Independent on Snow to Snoper Snowbomber.
Oh, that's who wrote
and
this
he was a big Young M.A. fan already.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, what is the deal with Young M.A. on the one hand being out there about female role in rap
Mhm.
and having a persona that is so completely identical to the thug male persona of rap?
Well, I mean, she's definitely not the first person to do it. We had Remy Ma, we had Trina. Like, there's so many people.
Well, no, pause. You can't compare her with Remy Ma because Remy Ma do not carry that persona. Remy Ma.
I mean, she
is-
operates in gangster rap as well as Young M.A.
Oh
does,
yeah, well
up
she
to the
was
same-
a female gangster rapper, whereas Young M.A. is considered a transgender, or not transgender, but a what there's a term for it where she does not identify as male, female. She just identifies as
non-binary.
binary, non-binary.
Yeah, non-binary.
Exactly, non-binary.
Our generation has a lot of studying
we
to
sure
do.
do gotta learn.
Yeah,
We-
I mean,
we
I
gotta
just
sit
graduated
down.
from college, so you got to be like familiar with all these terms.
Right, so
being on a
young
college
binary.
campus.
Am I right? She's more viewed as a non-binary rapper opposed to a female
But she
gangster
talks
rapper.
about
I mean,
being
no,
female.
I would-
She
I would
talks about being
disagree.
female.
I would
I've
disagree.
read the
She's
interviews.
never said anything like that. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
you're right, Joe.
No,
I'm just
but
saying
it's
she
how
also
she's
talks about
perceived.
that. That's why I want Sandra
Yeah, but I don't think
explain
that,
it to
like
us.
gender identity is something that really comes up a lot. I just think that she operates more on the masculinity than femininity at all. Like, she doesn't really show a lot of femininity,
Mhm.
except talking about females. She kind of talks about it in a way that men talk about women, which is kind of
Mhm.
interesting.
Right.
So, Sam, is the issue that all those of us who are twice your age still think in such a binary way that it's not even relevant for your generation? She's
Yeah,
just
I
young
don't-
M.A.
I don't care.
She's
She-
out there doing it.
Right.
She is who
could
she
be
is.
half horse. The bars are hot. You know what I
Right.
mean? I don't care at all
And
about any of that.
I really do appreciate her music, her work. It's like, and it's catchy. She always makes something that's catchy.
And she's got
Yeah,
bars. That's
yeah,
it.
And Young Rhythm was catchy, but you're not feeling the same
Yeah.
thing about Young
Yeah.
Rhythm.
Yank Rhythm, no.
Nah, that's Notes record's hot.
What's that?
Give it 2 months. That record's hot.
Okay.
Everybody likes that record. When
I mean, it's popular. There's a lot
Yeah.
of tracks out here that are popular, but and are hot in the streets. But then I give a year or two later, you hear it, you're like, why was I in
But
that?
here's the
Nah.
question: is there anything hotter in the streets than Pundit
Pundit
Friday,
Fridays.
which you've been listening to for the last hour? Thanks for listening, folks. We really miss Babs Rolls Ivy,
Yes, we
Marquise
did.
Ricks, and Rodriguez
Yes, we
Reyes.
did.
We wish them safe travels and moves, but we had a good time.
Yes, we did.
The males held down the fort,
We held it down the best that we could.
and we got a little schooling from the younger generation of Sam Hademan. Thanks for that last minute assist, Sam. Thanks for helping to work the boards. I want to thank Joe Ugly
You're most welcome, sir.
and the bravest man, not just really in New Haven, let's be honest,
Yeah.
bravest man in the Northeast, Harry Droz.
Just the Northeast?
Just the
No,
Northeast.
no.
We're going to have some kind of competitions with the Midwest and the West coming
That's
up.
true.
Toe to toe
and-
on
and-
Trump with Harry.
Yeah, I'm switching my show up. Look
You are-
for it. It's
you
gonna
are-
be toe to toe with Harry.
He's
Oh,
going to bring
okay.
people
Harry,
on who
Trump
are pissed
supporter,
off at
have
Trump.
people on. Come and knock me
Are
off.
you tough enough to take on Harry if you're mad about Harry?
Any day, any
Then
place.
the Donald Trump?
Go to
Then
jail.
you
Come
got
on.
then come on air with
Oh
Harry.
no, I'll start off with you if that's what it takes. How's
I
that?
already got somebody.
Oh, good.
And we want to take it out, even though we're talking Young M.A., we've been talking about Snow to Snoper, Snow Bomber. We're going to take it out with my generation's vibe. The Afro-Semitic Experience performing I Wish I Knew How It Would Feel to Be Free from the group CD A Plea for Peace. This is Paul Bass inviting you to fly free with us all weekend long at WNHH, New Haven's home for community radio.